Greetings everybody, coming to you from my 2014 Mercedes-Benz GLK250 Bluetec. Got a bottle of water on the seat next to me and it's clunking around a little bit, so ignore that. I also have the sunroof open. I just thought I'd give an update video on this car and what's been going on with it. So I bought it last year, beginning of August. So I'm coming on about 11 months of ownership now. It had 144,314 or so when I got it. We're at 160,596 now, so I put a little over 16,000 miles on it. And it has been just incredibly reliable. So I've got about 7,000 miles left of the AEM warranty, but it hasn't needed anything like that. So the one thing that went wrong was, it was kind of twofold. The hood release lever fell out of its holder under the dash, and I was pretty confident that that was a result of the hood release cable being bad, and it was. I did replace that. It wasn't too bad to do, but one thing that happened was on the driver's side, the latch that it goes into, it's got an electrical connector and plastic housing, presumably to tell when the hood isn't latched and give you the warning. Well, I had that warning kick on, and turns out that that plastic cover just like snapped off. I was able to kind of cobble it back together. I just basically pushed it back together until I heard it snap, and it's been fine ever since. But I got there's so many different slight variations on the hood release lever. I actually ordered what I thought was the right part number, but it came out with the wrong one. The one I bought had clips, and the one that I have has a screw. But it turns out that the hood release lever itself was fine, and I was able to reuse it, although it is still periodically popping out of its holder. So I think the actual part where it fits in is a little funky, but still, I got it working, and we're good. I've always got my head under the hood, checking everything, making sure I'm not losing coolant or anything weird going on under there. I think it's important to keep your eye on stuff. I've started noticing on a cold start a very slight squeaking coming from either the belt tensioner or one of the idler pulleys. I'm going to keep my eye on that. I don't think it's dramatic enough to worry about it just yet. So I'm going to kind of watch that. I believe that's all original with 160,000 on it. I do have all that stuff, tensioners, idler pulleys, belt, even the water pump. There was a time when I thought the water pump was going bad, but I've actually recently been reading a little bit about the water pump replacement for this car that replaces the vacuum, causing some issues with check engine lights. So I may look into actually getting the OEM Mercedes one. I mean, this one could go to 250, who knows? They do fail eventually, but I may rethink what I use to replace that when this one finally gives out. So the other thing, for those of you who have watched some of my previous videos, I have a situation where the driver's side CV axle, well, it passes through the oil pan. There's like an intermediate shaft there, and then there's a bearing that fits right in the oil pan. The bearing itself is fine, but I think the oil pan itself has kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Wallowed out. I don't know if that's the right word. Anywhere, so the hole where it fits in has maybe gotten a little bigger. Watch out for Bambi there. And so the whole thing kind of bounces around there in the oil pan. And my solution was to stick a zip tie in between the outer part of the bearing and the oil pan to kind of just support it from flopping around in there. And that's actually when I reset my trip odometer 7,400 miles ago, and it's been fine ever since. I haven't had any further issues. And I want to say, yeah, there's one other thing that's going on. This button, whatever you call it, on the door lock, whenever you use the key to lock the door, it doesn't always go down. So the door is still unlocked even though it's armed, and all the other doors lock. So I will probably eventually have to figure something out on that. I mean, it's just all minor stuff in terms of the powertrain, the driving, all of that, just flawless. This car has just been so reliable. I mean, I hear all these horror stories about people buying brand new 2024, 2023 cars and having all kinds of problems, like Toyota Tundras with the engines blowing up, Toyota Tacomas with the transmissions failing, a bunch of issues with Stellantis products, Jeeps catching on fire. You know, and then I buy this 10-year-old car with 144,000 miles on it and proceed to just drive the heck out of it and really not have anything go wrong with it. I personally think this is one of Mercedes-Benz's best engines ever. The amount of power it creates for the size, it's like 2.2 liters. And here, I'll do a quick acceleration run, just punching it. I mean, if you're like me and you grew up with the old school diesels that took like 20-25 seconds to get from 0 to 60, something like this is actually kind of unfathomable compared to what it was just a few years ago. I think Mercedes-Benz's first really sort of fast diesel was like the E-Class, the 300D from 87. It may have been available for 86, I'm not sure, but that would do it to 60 under 10 seconds. And for the time, oh wait, I want to go straight here. For the time, that was a rocket ship. So this one, I think I timed 0 to 60 in like 7.4, 7.9. I don't know, somewhere in that range. It was definitely in the 7s. I got another Bambi to watch out for. So yeah, that's really the update. I mean, it's still running strong. I did a few things on it for maintenance. I have the full service history. It's had oil changes every 10 to 14,000 miles. Mostly 10,000 or less, but one was 14. And my last oil change, I ran almost 12, but I did a lot of highway driving. So it was, for me, more based on the amount of time that the engine was running rather than the miles. And I did send it off to Blackstone, and it was overall pretty good. There was 1.5% fuel dilution, in the oil. They said that's nothing to be concerned about, but it's something to monitor. I will send another sample in the next time I change the oil. I'll probably go about 10,000 on the next batch. And then one of the metals was slightly high, and I think that may have been because my 12,000 mile change came off of a 14,000+ mile change from the previous owner. I think they were getting ready to sell the car and they just didn't bother to change the oil. I'm gonna go ahead and close the sunroof as I get ready to hop on the highway here. But you know, it's still clean down in there. And then I did brake fluid. I always do brake fluid every 2 to 3 years. The transmission oil had been changed once at like 63,000, so I did that. That's the first time I did that job on a car on the 7G Tronic Plus. It was kind of a nightmare because I didn't have the right tools. I wasn't prepared. It took all day. I ended up burning my arm, and yeah, it was just, I think there's an exotic car behind me. What is that? I don't know, we'll see it when it passes. Up in the mirror. Anyway, I always get sidetracked, especially when I see, is that a McLaren? That might be a McLaren. So yeah, the time I did it on this car, I took lessons learned and was prepared, and I actually had the proper pump and everything, and it went without a hitch. It took me less than 2 hours to do from start to finish, and that was taking my time. The only hitch I had was right at the end. Once I wanted to unscrew the adapter, which was still connected to the pump. I couldn't get a grip on it because it was a little slick from oil, and I ended up kind of spilling a little bit from the reservoir from the pump, but other than that, it went without a hitch. So that's a job I would definitely be confident doing again. I also changed the coolant. It had never been done. That is a McLaren somebody just bought. That was pretty easy. I don't think I flushed it on this car. Maybe once I flushed it. I don't know. Maybe I just did a drain and fill and poured a little extra through to kind of clean it out a little bit. But got that done. And the fluid level dropped a couple times after that. I just attributed that to air. But then they did it again, and I thought, oh shit, maybe the oil or the water pump is leaking. But it stabilized, and it was fine after that. So let's see what else. Other than that, I mean, it's just, this is a joy to drive. I do have an upcoming pending warranty replacement of the rear subframe. I don't think mine is quite bad enough to warrant warranty repair yet. I think it technically has to perforate all the way through before they will do that warranty repair. Mine has one spot where it's pretty close. Got some body rust underneath. I've showed a video about that. I have not been under there this spring yet to retreat that with the Extend Rust treatment, but I will be doing that. And the only other thing to mention is I hear on and off over certain slow bumps a creaking from the front suspension. I think creaking could be a ball joint starting to go. This car, I believe, is on the originals, but I did have a state inspection done last month, and they check all that. They check the suspension. It's a pretty thorough checking, and it passed, so I'm not worried about that for now. I think I'll probably leave that until I take this car in for the rear subframe replacement, and then have them check that at that time, and that's probably not even going to be until next spring. Typically I'm in and out of cars pretty quickly, but this one has quickly grown to one of my top 5 favorite cars of all time. And I have owned, I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but let's say it's getting close to 120 cars that I've owned. And as of this writing, I plan on keeping this one indefinitely, and just fixing stuff as it needs fixed. I do expect over time and miles it will need stuff. I would like to be able to drive it about 20,000 miles a year and still enjoy my other cars. I'm not quite on track for that. 16,000 miles so far, with 1 month to go before I hit the 1 year mark. So I'm probably looking at 17,000 a year. I don't know, because my S350 Bluetec, I've had that 3 months and have put about just under 5,000 miles on that. I'll be doing another update video on that before too long. And so yeah, I'm not thinking of anything else right now that has needed to be addressed on this car. It's just, again, been basically drive and enjoy. I love the power delivery. The second turbo kicks in a little over 3,000 RPMs, and you can distinctly feel it. It just makes it really fun to drive overall. The handling is fantastic. It's stable and secure, and they do a good job with the steering feel, even though it has electric power steering on it. It's pretty well weighted, and you can tell it is electric power steering, but it's pretty good. It's pretty close to the way a hydraulic steering would feel. You know, most people would never notice that. I'm not sure what they're trying to accomplish there, but okay. Anyway, all right. Have a great day, everyone.